And I think we shouldn't believe that everything is sensitive, that we can't have a conversation, because we are a very diverse society, and not allowing us to have a diverse opinion is very contradictory to whatever that we are selling outside world, multicultural, multi-ethnic, but then we are not respecting that.
姐妹正义联盟与国际特使组织今天揭露，马来西亚政府在过去近5年半内，至少13次援引1984年印刷与出版法令，查禁涉及 LGBTIQ 内容的出版品，包括书籍、产品包装、手表等，占全国禁品总数的42%。更甚的是，今年首5个月，禁书量已经是2024年全年的2倍，显示我国审查行动明显加剧。根据印刷与出版法令，出版物只要可能危害公共秩序、公共道德、国家安全、公共利益、国家利益、触犯法律或引起公众恐慌，即可被禁。但姐妹正义联盟联合创办人蒂拉加和数个人权组织今天召开记者会指出，法令所列的7大禁书理由过于广泛不明确，恐被当局用作打压言论自由的工具。
And it is important for us to note that restrictions can only be made, one, for the respect of others and their reputation, and the second one, for the protection of national security, public order, and public health or moral, right? But it is also important to note, under international human rights law, when restrictions of freedom of expressions are made, it has to adhere to the 3-part test, right? Which is the legality, legitimacy, necessity, and proportionality. Not only that, this at all times, whatever restrictions that are made has to adhere to the principle of non-discrimination, because the principle of non-discrimination is core to everything that we do, right? With PPPA, we see that it has overbroad definition, like it allows banning of book on 7 grounds, right? Which is beyond what the international human rights standards allows, right? And then it also provides excessive power to the minister, as I said earlier, and then it deprives people of the right to be heard. So these are the 3 key findings that we want to show. One is that, as what folks have said earlier, there is an increased use of PPPA, especially against LGBTIQ publications. 2, it does not meet the 3-part test, as we talked about. And then the third thing, there is a weaponization of public morality and public order against LGBTIQ publications and also against marginalized groups.
推广世界人权宣言第19条组织高级专员纳利尼点出，政府长期动用审查工具压制多元声音，打压批评者，导致社会缺乏对话空间，分歧也日益加剧。
The government over the years has been using censorship law like PPPA, CMA, Sedition Act, particularly to censor speeches of critics of the government, individuals, communities that are experiencing prejudice, discrimination, stereotypes, and stigmatizations. And what's happening also is that the consequences of this censorship that have been happening probably for over the 50 years or 60 years, it's like it has actually hampers our ability to establish an inclusive society. So when you can't talk about certain issues, right, like so-called sensitive issues, you're not actually providing information to public to know what exactly is going on. You're not even trying to educate people or give awareness to people certain issues, right, like LGBT community or individuals, who are they, what are the issues and stuff like that. So when you're stopping people from gaining knowledge and also information, we are creating a society where only allow for certain kind of information and information that only be given or allowed by certain people in the power, or like government, for example. So that has actually failed our society to have very inclusive manner, because we kind of don't like each other, we don't trust each other. That has created an environment where a society that is not inclusive, but more polarized society, right? Because we are very polarized in terms of opinion as well.
对纳利尼而言，要保障言论自由，大马必须推动制度改革。他呼吁政府制定反歧视法案，并采纳联合国提出的拉巴特行动计划。此外，他也希望大马尽快签署《公民与政治权利国际公约》，让人民在言论受限时能以国际标准来追责。
One, they need to create an enabling environment for people to have right to freedom of expression and equality in this country. And I think our recommendations always been like to have a comprehensive anti-discrimination legislation in Malaysia in line with international human rights standard. And then we also want to talk about one of the UN framework that Article 19 is also proposing to government, always been proposing is like the Rabat Plan of Actions. So Rabat Plan of Action is a UN framework to deal with the incitement and also how we as a society, whole society approach can come together. So it's not only the government, but also media, political leaders, religious leaders, youths, and everyone in the society, how we can come together and one, to counter hate speech, but also how we can actually use this framework to promote inclusive environment instead of discrimination.
另一边厢，对于政府拟修订印刷与出版法令，国际特赦组织大马分会言论自由倡导者基兰警告，平衡只是幌子，修正案真正带来的是更多限制和权力扩张。从恢复涵盖网络媒体的更新出版准证制度，赋予内政部审批权，到禁止涉及3R 议题的内容，这一切只会加剧自我审查，进一步压缩言论自由。
My point here is that a lot of civil society has been calling for a repeal of Section 7.1 because of the misuse, because of the patterns of misuse and how it has been used to ban several publications, especially LGBTQ-centered publications. But with this increased scope, it is not really addressing what civil society has long called for, which is a repeal of Section 7.1, and it instead focuses more on expanding Section 7.1, and which is again not what we would interpret as a balance between preserving FOE rights and also regulations.